Okay, we are live here today with Rebecca Elizabeth Whitman, and today we're talking about her and how she helps overworked and overwhelmed women transform from burned out to balanced, beautiful, and abundant. And we're going to be talking about her 7 pillars of abundance on this show today, and so much more. With that introduction, Elizabeth, if you could just tell us a little bit more about yourself and all the fun things we're going to talk about today.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can call me Rebecca. Elizabeth is my middle name. So, I am so happy to be here, Tim. Thank you for inviting me. And I never thought I would be a life coach. I never thought I would be divorced. I moved to LA 22 years ago to become an actress. And I ended up having hit shows or having a small part on hit shows like Friends, CSI, and 24.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I stumbled into the personal growth arena just because I had a lot of free time. And I studied the law of attraction with great teachers like Michael Beckwith, Abraham Hicks, Wayne Dyer, Louise Hay. And I was able to create 6 figures working part time in the kids' acting school business. And the one area of my life that I just couldn't figure out was my love life. And I remember being 39 years old going, oh my God, if I don't get married now, I'm not going to be able to have kids. So I married someone that was not a good fit. And 3 years later, we were divorced. And as my divorce was proceeding, painfully, my dad was dying in a nursing home.
Mm.
In one of our last conversations, he said, Rebecca, I want you to write something. And I had no idea what I was going to write. And a few months later, my dad had died. My divorce had been finalized. I'm sitting in my financial planner's office. And he's like, you're having your best financial year ever, yet you lost your marriage and your father this year. I think you should write a book and empower people to learn what you did. And that's where the book, How to Make a 6-Figure Income Working Part-Time, was that book that I wrote to honor my dad. And in the book is where I describe my 7 pillars of abundance. And thanks to my 7 pillars of abundance, I have now married my soulmate, and we've been married a year and a half. And it's a totally different style of relationship than I had in my first marriage.
So it's kind of the proof is in the pudding. You wrote the 7 pillars, you followed it, I imagine, and that worked out for you.
It did. It really did.
Now, were you saying just before we turned on the camera that is now a course people can take?
It is. I reverse engineered. How did I go from divorced, cynical, and jaded to being magically, passionately in love with my soulmate? And I realized that there were 7 simple steps that I did. And so I now have a course called How to Manifest Your Soulmate in Midlife.
Makes sense. You know, the when you reached out to me to do this podcast, I was very interested just because I think my listeners get tired of me talking about divorce all the time,
Yeah.
and life coaches, marriage coaches, and those sorts of folks. I want to get in front of my listeners because there's a lot of maybe we can save a few marriages. Number one, or people that what I've been learning is that people go through to get divorced and then end up marrying the same type of person with the same types of problems. And your information, since we do so many divorce cases here in California, maybe it'll help them in their next relationship.
Absolutely. Unless you really do some deep inner work with a therapist or a coach, that is normal. I used to pick the same type of guy over and over and over again. I used to joke that I had a Rebecca classic that I would just keep going for the same guy over and over again. And I had to really look at my patterns and what was serving and not serving me to create a new dynamic in a relationship and the type of person that I was attracted to.
Gotcha. Can you talk? So I know you reverse engineered the book into a course. And that course, I'm assuming, goes over those 7 pillars. How do you want to address these in this conversation?
Yeah, I don't mind sharing the 7. The 7 pillars are how to, manifest a life of balance, beauty, and abundance. But the 7 steps to manifesting your soulmate in midlife, I'm happy to discuss either one. Do you want to start with the how to manifest your soulmate or the 7 pillars of abundance?
Wherever you think is more appropriate. I'm good either way.